An incident happened to me that because I was stopped by the police, arrested and charged for, he called it insulting behavior. I done absolutely nothing. When I told a friend about it, he told me, well, look, Mark, I said, well, can I get a solicitor or a lawyer or somebody, you know, because I thought the thing to do was, because I'd never been in a court, even in Trinidad before, so I've seen court scenes on the television. That's about the closest I came to it. And I went round to see the solicitor, and he said to me, okay, well, look, what's the charge? I said, insulting behavior. He said, and I told him the circumstances. He said, how many policemen were there? I said, 2. He said, have you got any witnesses? I said, no. He said, well, you want my advice? And he says, I wouldn't charge you a penny for this. Plead guilty. He said, the maximum that they will charge you on that charge is £2. That's the maximum. He says, if you insist on taking me, he says, I'm only going to present your case for you from what you tell me. He says, and I can't be a witness for you. So if you have 2 policemen and you're on your own, who you think the magistrate's going to believe? No matter what you say. So my advice to you is plead guilty, put it on, pay it, and the maximum is £2. He may charge you £1 or 30 shillings. Pay the fine and put on to experience. I was livid. I began to look at it as a conspiracy. I mean, you know. Anyhow, I was determined. I turned up to the court today and I pleaded not guilty. And believe you me, I told, the thing I'm trying to tell you, because it's to do with Christianity. The policeman went on in the little box, I think they call it, and he held up a book, I think it was the Bible, and he said, I swear by Almighty God, the evidence I'm about to give in this, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, help me God. Bam. And he started to relate to the magistrate what it was about. And I stood across another part of the barrier thing, and I couldn't believe what I was hearing, because what he was saying was had nothing to do with what took place. I was waving my arms about in a threatening manner, and he had to arrest me so that a breach of the peace would not be occasioned. Now, I was brought up in a society where my parents always told me, if you told the truth, you got nothing to fear. Always tell the truth. The Lord would sort of, you know, it would be taken care of, but tell the truth. You're really intrigued. I was arrested I was on a bicycle, because I attended a birthday party of a friend of ours. And as I got to Nag's Head, a place called Nag's Head, the traffic lights, and it's a very busy thoroughfare, I pulled up and rest my foot on the pavement. Now, I happened to look across, you know, just looking, you know, taking the scenery, and my eye caught a policeman, and our eyes met for that split second. And the minute that happened, I got a funny feeling, because he was speaking to the other policeman, and he stopped in midair, and our eyes locked. The next thing I know, he started walking across the traffic, because it was still red. He started walking across the traffic lights, and as he got to so I'm trying now to compose and ignore him, you know. He held his hand up. Just a minute. So, yes, officer? Lady's bicycle. So I laughed. I said, okay, officer, right. It's a lady's, the model, it's a lady's model, but it belongs to me. I own it. He said, what's the serial number? I said, what? He said, the serial number. I said, I don't know. He said, but it's your bicycle, and you don't know the serial number? I said, well, I don't know the number. what's your name? I said, Albert McLean. And where do you live? I said, 41 Camden Park Road. Started asking me where I'm going to, where I'm coming from. And people started on the other pavements tying up, looking. Some people stood aside, looking. I felt very embarrassed, you know. So I said, look, officer, if you don't mind, could we do this at the station? Because I feel very embarrassed standing here with you asking me all these questions. I said, and if you're in this, I can prove to you that the bicycle is mine. I can tell you how I came by it. Never mind that. And he was a very young fellow. He must have been about 19 years old or something like that. Now, so he takes a book out of his pocket with a separate piece of paper. I never forgot that. He didn't write in the book. In his whatever pocketbook he had, it was a separate piece of paper. And he said, what's your name again? I said, Albert McLean. He said to me, but that's not what you told me the first time. I said, what are you trying to do to me? I said, what's the matter with you? I said, my name is Albert McLean. I have no reason to lie about such a thing. And your address? I said, 41 Camden Park Road. He said, that too is wrong. Well, I had a pocketbook. It's a diary, which they give you in London Transport, where you keep your you could write on your turns of duty and so on. And in it you had your pass and your photograph, your identity thing. So I took it out of my pocket and I shoved it in his face. And I was a bit loud, you know, because I was mad. I really lost my rag then, you know. And coming to think of it, I should never have spoken to the policeman like that. But I just lost it, because the whole incident was so silly. And I held up his face, and I says, "Can't you read?" I says something to the effect about my name is on this, I work for London Transport, and da-da-da-da-da-da. The next thing I knew is that the guy, by that time, the other policeman had walked over and was standing there. And he just hauled me off the bike. The bike fell in the road. And I think he shoved his hand under my jacket, because it was a suit I had on. He shoved his hand under my jacket, and by the time he got his hand there, I was like this. So he marched me across the road, and there was a blue police box. Told me to get in there and sit down. And there was a telephone there. He phoned the station. Shortly afterwards, a van turned up. There was about 3 or 4 policemen in it. And they picked the bike up and they shoved it in the van, right, and told me to get in. So the day of the case, when I listened to what he had to say, he said, how did he plead? I said, not guilty, Your Honor. Not guilty? I said, yes. But I was to tell my story. I says, well, no, the judge or the magistrate who heard it, what helped me is the judge became very, very, just like you're looking at me, he was really listening to what I was saying. Whether I charmed him or what, I don't know, and he was really listening. So that gave me a bit of, so I said, the officer said that I became very aggressive, I think, or threatening. I was waving my arms about in a threatening manner. What I'd like to ask the officer is this, that I was on a lady's bicycle. It was a lady's bicycle that I had. Now, unlike a man's bicycle, there is no crossbar. Mm-hmm. So therefore, I couldn't support the bike. There was no way to support the bike. by laying it on your hip as you would do it. I had to hold it with one hand. I took my London transport pass out of my pocket and held it up to his face, the sole purpose so that he can read my name. I would like the officer to explain to you how can I wave my arms about as he suggested. And the magistrate said, well, whatever, are you finished? Or so? He said, well, case dismissed. I was a hero. Everybody sort of looked around like, you know, well, what's the matter with him?